Welcome back to shot commentary um, about shots that I have shot in the past. And I think this pun that I've done a few times now is getting old, so I'm going to try to stop saying it. But here we go. First shot that we're looking at here, we got a image from Switchblade. This is the opening kind of like prelude scene. It's like a 5-minute scene on the director's cut, which is really cool. Maybe it's a little shorter, maybe it's like 2 minutes, but yeah, I didn't make the full cut for the main video because it was just too long. But the full scene was really good, and I really it was really a lot of fun to make. But the logistical challenge with this one was this needed to take place at night, but there was just no way that we were going to be able to shoot this at night with our schedule. Long story short, so we had to do a day for night, and we ended up finding this area. Like there was this little corner in the main area, like where we were shooting, like not in the main area, but like off to the side. That I was like, okay, this could kind of be an alleyway, and it had like if this was like our area, right? If this was the wall, and this is where our talent is here. There was this little shaft of light that sun could come through, and we timed it in such a way where the sun was over here, so it wasn't putting too much light onto this back wall, right? But it was just enough light that we could, if there were to be a backlight or anything like that, which you can see from here, this light right here is the sun, technically, but I just exposed it way the hell down, threw some ND in it just to make sure, like just to make this feel much darker than it actually was. And then the light that is hitting her head here, her face, I believe what we had, I think it was a bounce. I think we had. I would need to go look back at our original lighting setups for this, the behind the scenes. But I'm almost certain that we just had a big bounce card that we could fly in and basically just like get her some level. Because we were like there was so much light in the room already because it was daytime, so we didn't need as much as you would think. But like a regular lamp, like a 600 wasn't gonna do too much for us with all of the sun. So we skirted off the bottom part of the bleed that we didn't want, and we then returned some light onto her here, and you can see that here. This is the shaft of light that I'm talking about that was going on that kind of area. And then I think this right here would be our bounce card or something like that. So yeah, I really love how this shot looks. I love the film grain. I love, kind of like just the overall blue aesthetic to it, but like we're still getting color separation with her hair, and I love this hard blue here, and then like this kind of green, white, blue, and yeah, simple frame. We're shooting on the Atlas Anamorphics, so we're getting this nice 239 image. And I just like this frame here where her hands are kind of up, and then she's kind of playing a character in the video where she pretends that she's scared, but then she kind of like lowers the hands, and then she's takes out her gun, and she's like, I actually, I'm the one in charge here, not you. So yeah, I like this opening sequence. I think it's really cool. This is a close-up shot from Sencrad, and maybe I'll pull up another still of this. I don't maybe, but basically this we had a couple. I think it was like 4x lights, or actually no, I remember what it was. It was one 8x aperture. What are they? Whatever the aperture Titan tubes are, I forget the name of them off the top of my head right now. The infinity bars, that's what it was. And we had it kind of use the pixel thing where you could like, set it white. So the whole thing was white, but then I could like animate pixel by pixel. It could go down the line and basically create a wrapping of red. And then I think there was a section that was also black, right? So basically it was like red, white, and then off, black. And it kind of like went down this whole piece here, right? So that was really cool because what we ended up getting, is this, you get this super kind of like circular light wrap that was going around his face, and we had it like right here. So like, the fall off between where it's hitting him and where it's not, was quite intense, and just a really simple shot. We shot this outside at nighttime, and we just wanted to get some additional B-roll, additional emotional driven shots to kind of like, just drive home the point of the video. And so yeah, that was a cool little thing that we did here. Jumping over to a really different kind of style here, we have like a more naturalistic kind of vibe of these two characters, these two dancers, kind of like making this, this cool shape here that I really like. She's standing up straight. We get the hourglass figure here going. She has her arm bent like this, and then she's kind of like, angled inward like this. So we're getting these cool shapes, and then we're kind of like doing a frame within a frame, but we're also like breaking the frame because she's out of the frame, she's coming out of the frame a little bit. And then one thing I really like is this random foot that's here. And these were like these little vignette shots that we got um, in the beginning of this video that we just wanted to kind of like highlight all of the different like superhero poses, so to speak, before they went into their actual dance number. So, just two badass dancers posing, looking good for the camera. The light is basically coming, I think we might have had like a small unit that might have just been flown in behind camera just to like give them a little bit of extra boost. But I mean, nearly, you can see it here. We just got these almost blown out windows, which I love doing. I really have no interest in saving windows. I don't really care. I think it looks cooler when you just let them go, and we get this cool silhouette vibe, but it's not so silhouetted that you can't see them. It's just kind of like a cool frame, and I like it. It's a cool little shot. All right, last one for today is a short film called Pathogen, which is based off the video game Dead Space. And what I love about this shot was how much it ended up looking exactly like I wanted it to look when we boarded this out. We have these awesome production designers that came in, and they basically put these tubes in to the wall because it was just blank before that. And, we did this for low budget. We were trying to make it work. So, everything, it wasn't going to be $1 million movie for this, but, we wanted to get the spirit of Dead Space embedded in it, and then, just make something cool that we all were proud of and wanted to do. So, this was a creative way to get some additional layering onto this section here. They had the classic cut off their limbs panel that they did. And then I think what really makes this shot work is maybe two things here. Again, frame within a frame. I have said this, I noticed myself doing this a lot. And it's really funny when going back and looking at these shots here, and I really do this quite a lot. But we literally put him in a box. We quite literally force him into this section where he can't leave. And he's like, that's thematically working with the movie because he's trapped in this spaceship and he can't leave. And there's a bunch of alien zombies trying to kill him. He's literally boxed in. And so I love that this is literally the first shot of Isaac that we see of him on the Ishimura. I mean, I think there's a close-up that we see before this, but the very next shot is this. And we actually start, I believe, on his helmet, or it's vice versa. I don't remember. It's been a long time. But we rack focus from one to the other, and I think it's really cool. Like either way, whichever it was, that reveal is cool because you almost don't even notice this at first. It's just like texture, but then when it does rack over to this, you're kind of like a fan service moment where it's like, hey, we got the helmet, the classic Isaac helmet that he wears on the Ishimura. And yeah, I love the leading lines here and here that kind of draw us in. I love these cool kind of sci-fi units that we have here. We just put Astera Titan tubes in there. And then, yeah, I think the only thing that I might have done differently, I probably would have seen if we could move this yellow piece, or maybe we color grade it so it's not so yellow. Might have done that differently. Um, but yeah, overall, I really like it. I dug how dark it was. We get the light kind of, coming up here. We lit this basically. We lit the whole space for this scene in this whole movie. Really, there was a bunch of space in the roof to put lights. So we basically just lined, multiple lights down the way. So that's basically getting us all the blue here. That's getting us the level on him here. And then that's getting the level on this wall here. And then we would just fly in, like, I think it was like a light mat, which is like a really small unit that you could just push in whenever you needed, just to get something on, something. But that was basically our approach for this, and yeah, I think it came out pretty cool. I love this shot. I think it's really awesome. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.